Okay, so as promised, I am back with How to Stop Being Depressed, part 2. And I said it in my last video, I'm gonna say it again in this video. I am not a professional. This is not medical advice. If you're struggling, seek licensed help. I wanted to jump right into the deep end and talk about probably one of the most important factors that goes into depression, which is unhealed trauma. Um, and it's a big one for obvious reasons, and one that I admittedly need to work on more as I'm realizing. And it's tricky because, at least in my case, I didn't really realize that I had a lot of trauma that I hadn't healed. And I think it's just because I've done so much healing. I'm in a much better place, but I'm realizing that there's still a lot of things from my childhood that I never addressed, that I've never really cared to revisit. I've been more aware of it lately, and I've been realizing that it is affecting me. So I've been trying to really pay attention to my triggers for the past few months. I'd been feeling really bloated and like I gained weight and just really not good in my body. And I was really confused because I eat well, I exercise, I don't really drink, I don't smoke, I don't party. I'm pretty much a homebody most of the time. So I just didn't understand why I was feeling like that. And I think it's because I've been holding on to a lot. The last 3 or 4 days, I've been working on my trauma. Like, I've been doing exercises and all that. And I don't know if it's a crazy coincidence, but I woke up this morning and my stomach was like flatter than it's been in months. If you have a lot of unhealed trauma, go to therapy. My experience with therapy was, it was good, but also I felt like it took me a really long time to find the right therapist for me. I just never felt like the therapists who I was seeing could emotionally relate to me. I just didn't feel like they had the emotional capacity to understand what I was going through. And I just felt like there was a big disconnect until I met, honestly, the therapist that changed my life, because she had dealt with a lot of trauma herself. And I feel like because of that, she was able to identify and empathize with me in a way that I didn't feel like therapists were able to before. And it just made me trust her. It made me, I don't know, it just made me feel like I could trust the advice of somebody who had been through it. But I'm really glad I didn't stop trying to find the right therapist for me, because it was honestly life-changing. So if you tried therapy before and it didn't work for you, don't give up, because more likely than not, you're not going to walk into your first therapy appointment and have a connection with the first therapist you see. It's probably going to take a few tries. But it's a really good way to identify your trauma and to heal through it. I know that there are therapists who specialize in trauma. So yeah, if you have access to it, do therapy. And if not, there are some really good books on it. But I think that before you even try to heal your trauma, you need to first create safety in your body, which you can do by regulating your nervous system. I used to be really emotionally dysregulated. I even had panic attacks every single day. And I mean like severe panic attacks where I thought I was dying, and it was horrible. Some of the things that I did to help me get out of that, Kundalini yoga was really helpful. Yoga in general, but especially Kundalini. It's a lot of breath work and meditation. It is, I will warn you though, it's really powerful, and it's going to make you feel a lot of shit. It's really intense. I would maybe do it with an instructor, or just take it slow. Take it slow with Kundalini. I talked about meditation. That's really good. Box breathing. If you don't know what box breathing is, it's when you inhale for 4 breaths, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4. So it would look something like this. So inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4. That's going to be really good for regulating your nervous system. The next thing I wanted to talk about is purpose/job satisfaction, because I feel, one second. I feel like things really turned around in my life when I was able to find purpose, because I had been looking for that for a long time, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And maybe it's not as big of a deal for everybody, but for me, it was a massive source of depression because I didn't understand my purpose in this world. And to me, that was really damaging. And that kind of goes hand in hand with job dissatisfaction, because think about how much time and energy you give to your work. It's a big portion of your life, right? If you're like most people and you work a 9 to 5, that's 8 hours a day, of your life. And let's say you're awake for, I don't know, 14, 16 hours. That's, half of your day, half of your waking life is spent at work most days. So it's a big deal if you don't enjoy what you're doing. And I understand that work is survival, but you just have to think about the impact that it's having on you as well. And a lot of the times we are in situations that we can't immediately get out of, and that's more than understandable. But the important thing is that you try to work towards getting out of it if you're doing something that is really affecting you emotionally and physically, I'm sure. Another really big one is relationships. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because we're like sponges. If we're consistently around negativity, we are going to internalize that, and it's going to become, other people's energy becomes our energy sooner or later. And so if you're always hanging out with people who are negative, or if you have a toxic relationship with your significant other, or even honestly, and this is the worst because sometimes it's not in your control, especially if you're younger, is your family. You can have a toxic family. If it's not something that you can do immediately, you want to work towards being able to get yourself out of that. Also, consumption. What are you giving your attention to? So if you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, what are you engaging with? Are you engaging with true crime? Are you watching violent things happen to people? Are you following accounts that are always talking about men or women badly, that they're cheating? Are you following people that are gossiping about others? All of that is energy, and you do internalize that. Because if you're consistently focused on negative things, that's going to reflect on your life as well. I remember I used to follow this account of it. It was some guy that did like dark moments in history, and I ended up unfollowing the account because I realized, I was like, oh, this is just stuff that like makes me feel bad. This is just like horrible things, and I don't like how this makes me feel. And shortly before I stopped following that account. The guy who ran it, he was like this young guy, and he posted like, oh, I'm feeling super depressed and suicidal, and I'm just letting you guys know. And I was like, of course you are, because 24/7, like, you're looking at all of these horrible things that have happened to people, and that affects your soul. You know what I mean? And it amplifies. Another big thing is appearance and self-care. And again, I can definitely do better at this. I know you're seeing me right now, and like my hair is done and my makeup is done and my nails are done, but I do not look like this all the time. I honestly, most of the time, like, I'm just in pajamas or a robe because I stay at home. I feel like I don't really have a reason to put myself together because no one's gonna see me, you know what I mean? It's just me in my house by myself. And I'm starting to realize the impact that that's having on me, because I don't feel as confident as I used to feel. And it's not because I look any different, but I'm just not putting the effort into myself to make myself feel good. Do you know what I mean? And we need that. Everybody needs that, especially if you're a woman. And if it's not your thing to do your makeup or anything like that, it doesn't have to be, your version of put together doesn't have to be my version of put together. If your version just means taking a shower and brushing your hair and putting on some lip balm and getting dressed for the day, and that makes you feel good, that's all you need. You don't have to put on a full face of makeup or eyelashes or anything. Just do whatever makes you feel good. And it also changes the way that you relate to the world, because think about it, it's the way that I know that people say appearance isn't important, right? And to a certain extent, it's not, but also it is, because what I'm talking about isn't, it's not about what you look like or how much you weigh. It's, have you put the effort into yourself today to take a shower, get dressed, how are you presenting yourself to the world? Because you tell the world how it's supposed to treat you and how it's supposed to value you. And you do that by how you treat and value yourself. So you will notice, it's crazy how different people treat me on days where I go out in sweatpants and a baseball cap and I'm, I haven't washed my hair, I haven't showered yet, I'm just out and about. I'm like invisible. People treat me like I don't exist, like they don't even notice me. And maybe they're even like borderline kind of rude, But on days when, like if I were to go outside right now, people would treat me so differently. People like hold doors open for me and they smile at me and they're just nice. Before you say, oh, I think it's about pretty privilege, I'm still the same person. I'm still the same person when I go out in sweatpants and a baseball cap. It's just that I haven't put that energy into myself. You will see the difference, I promise. Also, a huge thing is doing things that make you happy, like having a hobby. For example, I have so many hobbies, like way too many, honestly. I love to paint, I love to cook, I love to crochet, I love to do pottery, I love to read, I love to play video games. All of those things bring me so much joy. And it's honestly such an easy way to get yourself into a better mood, is to just put some time aside. I know it's difficult, but put some time aside every day to do something that you enjoy and your life will change. Because what you're doing that moment is you're taking your attention away from all the bills you have to pay, from your shitty boyfriend, from, your boss being an ass, whatever it is that you're dealing with. All of that goes away. It might be something that you're thinking about 24/7, but when you're engaged with something, especially something that you're enjoying, it really is, you get so tunnel visioned in the best way possible. And the more that you do that, the more that your life slowly changes for the better. Because what are you doing? You're giving your attention to joy and happiness. And that, again, it's going to amplify, because negativity amplifies and so does positivity. So that's a really easy way. Another really easy thing you can do is just watch something funny. I cannot tell you how many times I have been literally so depressed, like just dying on the couch, zero will to live. And I will put on The Office, and it doesn't matter how horrible I am feeling, Michael Scott will never fail to make me laugh. I'm like sitting there giggling, 5 minutes in. I cannot feel bad if I'm watching The Office. There was I was reading about this guy that was told that he had a terminal illness and he only had a few months to live, right? And he went home and he just watched a bunch of like funny shit. I can't remember what he watched, but he was watching something. Like, that's all he did. He was just watching something funny and like waiting to die. And then he went back to the doctor a few months later and they were like, okay, we don't know how this happened, but like, you're fine. You no longer have this disease. And they were like, what did you do? And he was like, nothing. Like, I literally was just at home watching things that made me laugh. Laughter is medicine. Do it as much and as often as you possibly can. And I think that's it for now. Actually, I think I've gotten through all of the things that I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna leave you here and I will be back hopefully next week. I'm trying to post on Sundays, so I'm gonna try my best to be consistent with that, and I'll have another video for you guys. I think it's going to be on how to attract a good man / woman. I have a lot to say about this. So yeah, tune in, and I hope you found this helpful, and I can't wait to see you again.